John Moore. Gonna show you who the real White Lightning is today. Power shuffling on my brand new spell ground. Topping YCS's after 12 long rounds. Talking trash like you think you're the best around.
Stop.
Kick your scrub.
Jesus. Hey! Shut the fuck up! This is the fucking problem with this community. This shit and fucking feet pics. I literally don't even want to do a fucking intro anymore. Just fuck it. Whatever.
Alright, so we have METALFOEs today on the channel. This is the updated list for the post-Blazing Vortex. To be 100% honest with you, not a whole ton has changed, but we'll go through it anyway and explain things where needed. So, pretty standard stuff. You know, we have, like, all the METALFOEs, pretty much 3 of each of them except for the Bismugear. Got the new Melcaster. So, we play all these cards because you literally have to. There's like really no getting around it. You know, most of your best hands include Magician Souls and like, you know, a bunch of METALFOEs, so that's pretty cool. And then occasionally this card. I mean, of course, this is insane because this is just like more METALFOEs to a certain degree. I guess the only thing to talk about is the Melcaster. Let's go ahead and read off its effect. So the scale effect is the same as like all the other METALFOEs. You pop a face-up card to the field, set a METALFOE spell or trap from your deck. And then it says if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add one face-up METALFOE pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand, but you can't scale it that turn. So you can summon it, which is nice because it makes your pendulum summon from hand bigger, which is good because you know you're bound to link zones with pendulum monsters, Rip Triff Gaming. But yeah, so the card is definitely a nice addition. It's another level 7 for the Volflame to go into like the absolute plays, so that's definitely useful. I guess I'll touch briefly on Vanisher. I think that card sucks, mostly because like playing that card, I feel like it kind of like forces you into a vacuum of like summoning VFD, which I just don't want to do. Not only because no one knows what's going to happen with the ban list, but also I just don't want to summon VFD. The card is just doesn't make for like fun gameplay. So this build is not featuring the METALFOEs, what's his name, the fucking level 9 Vanilla Fusion. We're not playing that card either. We're strictly kind of going with a sort of big board 5-negate combo pendulum build that dies to Nibiru. So yep. So yeah, there's not really much more to talk about here. I'll just pack these guys up. So alongside your Rescue Rabbits, the other normal summon in the deck is Abductor. I ended up cutting this to 2. I had a very big problem with this deck of not only opening multiple of these sucks, but the main issue was too many normal summons. My hand was getting clogged with normal summons. So in the few testing games that I played. So I ended up cutting the Abductor to 2 just because I feel like the Rescue Rabbit is a little bit better in terms of we can normal summon it, but we can also pendulum him out after we've already set up like a sort of like a Magician Souls play with our Abductor or like anything else like normal METALFOE and like make a cross sheep. So yeah, the Abductor is here to mostly search Magician Souls. You can get its pendulum effect to search any pendulum monster, which is nice. But, you know, Souls is just insane in this deck because it sends your 2 combinations and then you can search 2 and draw 2, which is really nice. We draw 2 first, but it kind of makes it so, like, if your Souls gets ashed and you're sending the combos, like, you're not really losing too much on card advantage. They're at least going to replace themselves, which is nice. But, you know, this plus the trap makes you go +2, which is pretty nice. So, yeah. So for the quote-unquote spice, we have the Zoo Engine, we have 1 Ram, 1 Whiptail, no Thoroughblade, no Rapier, just because I think these are like the best ones. No Mega Clops in the extra deck, none of that. And then of course we have Barrage and Triple Tenki. The Tenki of course is very good with the Magician Souls. If for some reason you can't get to the second combo, you can still, you know, send this and draw. And then of course having multiple of this in your hand is just more food for Souls. So that's kind of why we're going with this route here. So so far it's proven to be really good because the Tenki is also a card you can pop with your scale, so you can get more METALFOE cards. You can just add a Dryden to your end board and gives you access to Zeus. So yeah, Zoo Engine, pretty spicy. So the rest of the main deck is just kind of like hand traps and like cards you don't really want to draw. But so we have Mighty Master and we have Jackal King. These are your 2 targets for Souls. Depending on how your hand ends up playing out, if you can get 4 counters on Selene, you can get this guy out. But if you only have access to 3 counters on Selene, you can get this guy out instead and just have a monster negate as opposed to the spell and trap negate. But yeah, these are your 2 targets for that. Again, like you don't really want to draw these cards, but like it's fine. He's a high scale. This is like a pseudo low scale, but most of the time if you draw this guy, you probably just pendulum out. But yeah, cards are pretty good. Only hand trap in the deck, just these guys. I mean, this is just nuts, like with Rescue Rabbit and stuff. And like, if your opponent tries to like gamma your souls in hand, you can just gamma their gamma. Hopefully they don't have the Ash. I mean, but yeah. There can be a lot of like lackluster hands in this deck, because like really, if you don't have access to Magician Souls, you probably just have a lackluster hand. So if you're going to be normal summoning a Rescue Rabbit, you really want it to resolve. So like this can get you into your cross sheep, that'll get you 2 scales. You know, it's crazy. The card's just really good. So yeah, gamma. Last cards are just the METALFOE lineup: Fusion, ParaMETALFOE Fusion, the Quick Play spell, Full METALFOE Fusion, and then 2 traps. Combos nuts, like even flipping combos nuts. I mean, there's not really a ton to say here. The ParaMETALFOE Fusion has actually been pretty good, but I had kind of like a fear that whenever I added this card in, it would lead to brick hands, just because like you already don't want to draw these, you're adding in another one. It definitely does, but this card's just really good because there's like nothing else like it, so it's just nice to have. But, you know, I feel like most of the time going for this, the standard METALFOE Fusion is probably just better, because you get the recursion on the draw. So, like, if you set up like an IP Unicorn play, it's live. But, yeah, I digress. So, for the extra deck, the Link monsters, we have Cross Sheep, IP, Selene, Unicorn, Access Code, Appaloosa. Not a really whole ton to say here. These are combo pieces. This is part of the end board. This could be what you can blink into your IP with, or you can just turn your Selene into this after you've what's it called, finished comboing. You can just turn this into this, so you can have like an Appaloosa for 2 on your end board, which is cool. And then of course it has all the arrows for the recursion, because pendulums suck. But yeah, not really a ton to talk about here. These are just pretty standard Link monsters, pretty broken. Fusions: Alkaheist, Mithrilium, Recalc, Vortex Dragon. This card's nuts. This card's nuts. This card's alright. Honestly, if Electrum comes off the list, I'll probably just make this Electrum. So I won't even update the profile. That's like literally probably the only change, is this just becomes Electrumite. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. The Orichalc doesn't really come up, but I kind of figured I had room for it, so I'd play it. The Alkaheist is honestly like a really good thing that you can either end on or blink your Mithrilium into. Like if you have the Bismugear search in the end phase and you set up the Quick Play Fusion, you can go into this guy. So that's cool as well. And then she can float into like whatever you want, so that's nice. Exceeds are Absolute, and then your Zoo package, Chakanine, Drident, Boar, and then Zeus. So this, of course, is just so that you can overlay 2 7s and get into your Vortex, which is good and bad because, you know, whenever you commit to that play, you're pretty much just going neg because you're losing the recursion from the face-up extra deck. And then the Zoo cards are just the Zoo cards. The Chakanine is, like, rarely ever used except for just something you put under Dryden or Borbo if you're going to go for this or whatever. But sometimes the Chakanine can be really good in terms of, like, making link arrows for you, so that's nice as well. It just kind of makes the Zoo cards like even more multi-purpose than they kind of already are, so that's super cool. And Zeus is Zeus. This is definitely kind of like when you're starting to grind, you can just go into this and, you know, Borbo, even if you're just getting Boar and one other material just for 1 board wipe. You know, Zeus is just crazy. So yeah, that's really the list. That's all I got for it. The deck's been really fun. I'm still trying to tweak it. I tried really hard to make this deck 40 cards, but it ended up being 42 because I really just wanted to make sure that I had the Gammas. I wanted to make sure I had the Gammas in the deck, and I really wanted to play 3 of all of the METALFOEs except for the Bismugear. So yeah, that's that. So let me know what you guys think. You know, in the comments below. Please give me suggestions on this, because I think it does need a little bit of help. I think possibly cramming the Zoo engine in here has definitely made the deck building harder, but I think the payoff with that small 6-card engine is just kind of like too insane to pass up. But it could just be me, so I'll see you next time, Simps. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
What are you listening to?